crime. Now, that's irrespective of their own set of values. Now, personally, this is where it gets really interesting. On a personal reflection, I'm not sure I could really do that. For me, one of the things that I talk a lot about is that I need to have a sense of alignment between my values, my moral framework, and my ethics, both personally but also socially. They've got to resonate. There's got to be a harmony for me. Otherwise, I'm going to feel really conflicted. So now you might be asking, why is all of this important? Why am I bringing this up in a podcast about inspiring change? Well, firstly, who I am as a person involves me having values, having morals, and having a certain ethical framework that I operate within. Okay, otherwise I'm going to be bouncing around the joint like a ball without any clear direction. So one of the results of that is often, either deep feelings of shame or deep feelings of guilt, or both. So there is a direct psychological impact. In one of the podcasts I've talked about, Vietnam veterans having a moral injury. Okay, so this is where it becomes very relevant and where we can't necessarily just talk about the psychology of us as human beings, but we also need to understand what underpins our thinking. Not just what we think, but how we think and how this connects. How does it influence what I feel? Right? The stronger my relationship to my values are, and my moral code and my framework of ethics, the more resilient I'm going to be. And that is a really, really important factor. Personally, it's really interesting because when I see, say, for example, politicians or anybody acting immorally or amorally, one of the first things that comes to my mind is, how can they not live without anxiety? There's got to be some anxiety. Now, I know as a psychologist that, the only group that doesn't, have a negative emotional reaction to breaching their values or morals or ethics is the psychopath. Now, they're not that common, really. In the scheme of things, demographically, there's only a very small percentage in the population. Thank God. Well, for goodness sake. Right? So, for those of you religious, I'm not blaspheming. It's just a turn of phrase. But I'm very, very pleased that there's only relatively small numbers in the population. Now, that doesn't include the destructively narcissistic person. There's a lot more of those. Okay? So this is very much about, points of growth for us as individuals within the context of our community. We talk a lot about freedom. So I have a freedom to express myself, but I also have a responsibility. Otherwise, unlike Margaret Thatcher's assertion that there is no thing as society, we truly would not have a society. We would not have a culture. Within culture is a framework of morality and ethics. And when they're discordant, when they're not aligned with one another, we have problems. Now, in some environments, we've obviously abandoned the idea that it's bad to lie, because no matter how strong the evidence that we're lying, we persist with it. Now, in my book, that is a very, very immature way of behaving. One of the things that I do as I bring up children, or if I'm coaching or counselling, teenagers especially, I'm going to challenge them into looking at their sets of values and how well those values dictate their behaviour, because they're in a learning process. They're discovering that if I don't have behavior, or I don't act on behavior that's aligned with my values or my morality, I'm going to be in trouble. Now, sometimes as adolescents, we want to weasel out of that. But the reality is, as an adult, to do that is seriously problematic. And a person who does that should not, in my view, be part of any form of leadership. We need to have systems, therefore, of accountability, of checks and balances, and we need to be able to call people on it, and they need to have and experience consequences as a result of that. Otherwise, anarchy rules. Okay, some food for thought, and I hope you're going to join me for the next episode, which is actually looking at how morality develops. So it's going to be a little bit more about parenting, but we're going to put the lens on moral development. And until next time, I hope you're going to join me. And this is me signing off.
Thank you for listening to Inspire Change with Gunter. Gunter Swoboda does individual and group coaching for men looking to grow. For more information on this and the global Making Good Men Great movement, check out goodmengreat.com to get into contact. If you have a topic for the show or would like to be a guest on the air, please email producers at miranda@noirtainment.com. That's Miranda, Miranda, at noirtainment, noirtainment.com. Thank you, and always keep inspiring change.